Hey, what's up, guys? It's Metal, Zara in WoW, and a couple of you have asked me to go over how I would heal with Party Beacon as a Holy Paladin in Raid. Everybody says this is a meme spec. If you're here to be weird in the comments about how you think it's a meme spec, you just go. You go away. Bye. Goodbye, everybody. But if you're here to learn about how Party Beacon works in a raid environment because you're curious, please continue watching this video. So here is, I just finished this. This is just a random pug that I joined. We had one pull. You can see here we wiped, and I was doing about 6k HPS tied with this little Druid guy. We have a Disc Priest who's quite a bit lower. But it's enough healing, for the group. We get little Spirit Shell nonsense from the Disc Priest, and it all works out. DPS was maybe a smidge low, but everybody's doing mechanics fairly well. So this is our first pull, and we got to, I think it was like 11% on phase 1. So this is pull 2, where we down the boss, and this is like the sloppiest actual kill ever. It's actually really good until the very end. And then it gets really sloppy, and I think if memory serves, there's some stuff I could have done a little bit better to have maybe saved it more. But we'll see what happens. So I'm going to walk you guys through each little step here as we go through. So on pull, whoops, and let me mute this. So on pull here, basically, you're going to have your countdown and throw your judge as soon as you can at 1. So you can see I've already used judge here. And then right after a judge is off global, you're going to Holy Shock the boss just for damage because nobody's taking damage right now. So judge into Holy Shock on pull. The boss hasn't even teleported in yet. Boss is going to come in, and you're going to immediately Crusader Strike him twice to reset that Holy Shock. So judge, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike gives us 3 combo points, and we've got a Crusader Strike ready. And usually by the time the boss has teleported in and you've gotten these 3 combo points, one of the 2 tanks, whichever one has damage on them, or excuse me, whichever one has aggro, will have taken some damage. So I will usually either use, after I get the reset on the Holy Shock, my 4th combo point with the Holy Shock will either be on the tank, just to give him a little heal top, or on the boss, just to get a little bit of extra damage in. So it looks like I do heal the Demon Hunter here, which, at the end of the day, the DH is probably going to be fine. So if you're trying to parse or whatever, I guess the heal is probably better for your heal numbers. Heal parses are kind of bullshit, but, sometimes you need them to get into a guild. The most optimal thing is probably to just keep DPSing. So at this point, you've got 4 combo points, and you can see here we've got a Cleansing Pain coming in. So this is really nice. If you've got a really good Shadow Priest in your run, they're going to have, or excuse me, not Shadow Priest, Disc Priest. If you've got a really good Disc Priest in your run, they're going to have Spirit Shield. And you can see he's already got some pre-shields on these people. A really good Disc Priest, which I don't want to call this guy out, but his HPS was relatively low. But if you're in a group with a really good Disc Priest, it's entirely possible that you will literally have nothing to do on the first Cleansing Pain all the way up through the first Blood Price. Entirely possible. So in this group, our healers are not going ham phase 1. The Disc Priest is for some reason not spirit shelling. I don't know, he was saying something else. I don't know what he was doing. So you'll see here I'm able to get good HPS, but if you're running Sire and you're wondering like, man, my HPS is just not that high, and another healer's is really high, phase 1's kind of bullshit. It's kind of cheese, and you really, like, if you've got one healer, whether it's like a Resto Shaman using Spirit Link Totem or a Disc Priest using Spirit Shell, or if you've got neither of those and you've got someone like me, who I think we'll see in a second, just Holy Pally beaconing the crap out of everything, it doesn't really matter who's doing it. So, like, someone's going to be higher on the meter, but there's a lot of, like, weird sniping that goes on in phase 1, and so at the end of the day, if you end up being really low on heals in phase 1, doesn't really matter. So we'll see here Cleansing Pain comes in, and when Cleansing Pain starts, you can see here, and I apologize for VLC's thing. Let's move this. Here we go. Yeah, this is probably better. We'll move it up here. This is great. So Cleansing Pain comes in, and I've already activated Rule of Law. So Rule of Law is a talent that you're never going to use in PvP, and you're never going to use in M+. Well, maybe not never. There might be some use, but generally not. But in Raid, this talent is great because you're constantly just healing all kinds of people, and it increases the range of your heals and the range of your mastery. So even if no one's, like, out of range, like, it has the use of, like, if someone is really far away, you can pop Rule of Law to be able to heal them without repositioning, which is really nice. That helps with the Paladin mobility issues. So you get extra, like I think it's double range on your heals. I don't remember. It's a lot of extra range. You get extra range on the heals. It's really nice, but it also increases your mastery, and your mastery increases your healing done based on your proximity. So the closer you are to someone, the more healing you do. So when you pop Rule of Law, you get more healing even if people are far away. So I always pre-prep one Rule of Law right here. Just because if you haven't used it yet, you want to get it on cooldown. You're going to get more uses if it's on cooldown. So I pre-prep that. And then you can see right when the hit comes in, or maybe even a little bit before, I put up my party beacon. This is a little bit of a downside to party beacon in a raid. So for the people who do criticize party beacon, that is a legitimate criticism. Depending on when you activate it and who has taken damage, it isn't always the smartest. So you can see here, like, I would be doing better healing if this guy, being the tank, and this part is my fault because I had clicked the tank. So you always get the beacon on the tank, so you want to not probably do that. You want to put it on some range person because the tanks don't need healing here. Or even if anything, if you're absorbing, actually I would have been a lot smarter to have put it on myself. So this tank beacon should have been on myself, but then you can still see you got this guy, and these two druids are not quite as low as the others. So this is like definitely a downside to party beacon, but this example is also kind of whatever because this healing doesn't really matter. But at any rate, you pre-prep, you get your Rule of Law and your party beacon out, and you immediately dump, I've already dumped at the point that I've paused this, you immediately dump that into either a Word of Glory or a Light of Dawn. I usually like Light of Dawn because in this kind of a mechanic, everybody's taking damage, but nobody's really getting that low. So you just want to be like getting the whole raid up as much as you can. So Light of Dawn not only is going to do more total healing because it's definitely going to hit 5 people, no problem, because you're in a raid. It's also just like everybody taking that damage gets that little bit of healing, and that replicates out to your party beacon. So we go through here, Night Hunters come out, and you can see I'm just Crusader striking the boss and Holy Shocking different people in the party or the boss for damage, depending. So if people in the party need spot healing, then you will Holy Shock them. If nobody needs spot healing, then Holy Shock the boss to get a little extra damage on the boss because you're a Holy Paladin, and why not do some damage? So then the Night Hunters come out from the Cleansing Pain, and we're going to go into the Absorb phase. If you're new to this fight, don't ever stand in this X. This X means you eat both lines, and that will probably kill you if you're not a tank or if you don't have a big personal running, which you shouldn't need to. So just, pick one of the 2 lines and stand in it to help everybody absorb. You can see I've got about 4 combo points built up here with my Holy Power, and I'm just waiting right now. I'm just kind of like waiting for these Night Hunters to come in. So you can see I've paused right when they come in. So I'm going to pause and unpause really quick. Not much damage really came through there. And you can see, look at this priest. He's got 14k HPS right now. So this is exactly what I was talking about, where like if you've got a disc priest in your raid and you're not doing that much healing in phase 1, this is why. There's no healing to do because the disc priest has already shielded everyone. So you can't do any healing. It's not a problem. But that's okay. Right? That's all right. That's what he's there for. Spirit Shell is overpowered. So the heals go through. I pop out Light of Dawn. It really wasn't necessary. It was just like a reaction on my part that the lines came through and I healed with the Light of Dawn. Really totally unnecessary. It looks like I see the spot healing needed on this one druid, and I've got my divine, whatever the hell it's called, proc, so I get a free one. I'll probably wog him in a second, and I do. And so now that we've gone through 1 Cleansing Pain and 1 Night Hunter, there's always a blood price after that, right? So you can see here coming up on my DBM, blood price is coming in 2 seconds. And what you want to do, I've been standing out here, right? Because A, I was absorbing a line, like one of the Night Hunter lines, and B, this gives me a full view, we'll say, of the raid to hit them with my Light of Dawn. Now, a lot of Paladins say they don't Light of Dawn, they think it's bad, and Word of Glory is better. I'm not going to waste too much time on that in this video. I super disagree with that. Light of Dawn just mathematically does more healing if you can hit 4 to 5 people, period. So what I do is I sit out here so that I can always hit the whole raid, right, with my Light of Dawns. The downside to that is that you need to then reposition again when blood price comes up, which you'll see me do here in a second. And the reason that you want to do that is because blood price lifts everyone up in the air and it knocks everyone back. And so you're going to get knocked into the wall if you're standing here, which is ideal because you don't get knocked too far back. If I had stayed here, I'd get knocked really far back. This is not the end of the world, but it means I'm out of range of people to heal them with my mastery. So my healing goes down. Even if I can still heal them, I'm healing them for less because I'm not as close because of my mastery being proximity-based. And if I get knocked back from this position, it means I can't melee the boss with Crusader Strike to build combo points. So it's like a multifaceted downside. So you want to always position with your back to the wall when blood price comes. So you can see I position right around there, and now I'm ready for this blood price to come in. There's a couple things that can happen here before this blood price occurs, depending on the timing and how you've spent things. If you have 2 combo points as this occurs, then you probably want to try and build to 3 before blood price occurs if you can. So we'll see what I get to here. Looks like I get to 2. Blood price is about to come out, and I get a Crusader Strike. So you can see there I was at 1, and I thought, okay, blood price is coming. I'm going to try to build as many combo points as I can. If your Crusader Strike and your Holy Shock are on cooldown because you used them, no worries. That's just how it worked out. You needed them before. But it turns out that I didn't need them when I was over here, so I was able to Holy Shock and Crusader Strike to build these 3 combo points. And this is nice because I'm about to get lifted up, right? So everybody in the raid is about to get lifted up. This time is about a 4-second timer. Looks like 3 where I paused. That's going to eat the entirety of the cooldown of my Crusader Strike and my Holy Shock. So even if there's no one to heal, just burn that on damage because you're about to get lifted up and it's going to eat that timer and refresh them anyway, right? And this means that when blood price goes off, you've got 3 combo points, holy power, built up. And so what I'll do here when I'm getting lifted up, I'm just spamming right now. I'm spamming wings first, which is off the global cooldown, and you can see where I paused, I already activated wings, which is why my Hammer of Wrath is glowing, because when that gets activated, I can always use it. And then as soon as I see my wings activate, I'm spamming Rule of Law, which is also off global cooldown, right? And once I get Rule of Law going, so you can see these 2 bars, the golden, goldy, gold bar is my wings, and the less goldy, gold bar is my Rule of Law. As soon as I finish both of those, I'm spamming Party Beacon, okay? Now, this is an example of where I think the people who complain about Party Beacon not being smart enough don't have a point, because a mechanic like this is going to equally damage the entire raid every time. So it doesn't matter that Party Beacon is kind of dumb. It doesn't matter that it doesn't really think about who it goes on. If you have yourself targeted because you know you're taking damage because you're eating the mechanic, and everyone else is eating the same mechanic as you, taking pretty close to the same amount of damage, it doesn't really matter. It just means that there's going to be 4 people. There's going to be 4 people in the raid who just take a lot more healing. So as soon as I get that Party Beacon out, as soon as this global finishes, I'm spamming Light of Dawn because I don't care who's next to me. Everybody in this raid needs to be healed right now. And it's going to automatically replicate as soon as I Light of Dawn out to all of my Party Beaconed people. So you can see here now we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 Party Beacon people. We're all a lot higher than everyone else because of that. So this is our first burst phase, just to get this up, because our Shadow Priest has already kind of done what he needed to do. I keep saying Shadow Priest. Our Disc Priest has already done what he needed to do with Spirit Shell. So now when this global finishes, okay, I think I'm probably going to Divine Toll here, if memory serves. And this is usually a good use, because if you've got about half the raid at 50% health, you just spent a Light of Dawn, and you've still got plenty of uptime. You can see these Party Beacon notifications. You've still got plenty of uptime on that if those people need healing, which they do other than this Demon Hunter. So this is a great time to use Divine Toll, so I think I'm going to do that. And I do. And you can see that healing is insane. I immediately jump from like 4k HPS up to 7k HPS. And we're not done yet, right? We're not done yet. We've still got plenty of Party Beacon time up if those people end up needing heals from this Cleansing Pain that's about to come out, which it will in a second. And we have 5 Holy Power. So I'm probably going to immediately dump this into a Light of Dawn, which I do. That's going to jump me up again another 1k HPS there, which is crazy. I'm already just like catching up from this burst phase. And we've got 2 combo points left over from the Light of Dawn. Wings is still active. Rule of Law is still active, and I've got a Holy Shock available. So I'm going to click someone, whoever, doesn't matter. I clicked this guy, and it looks like someone healed him and sniped it before me. That's okay. You could use it for the boss for damage. Doesn't really matter. You can see now a Cleansing Pain is about to finish. This is the second stack for our group, right, that we're eating. So I've still got Wings up, and I've still got Party Beacon time. Cleansing Pain goes off. Boom! We still have Party Beacon up. This is the shit. And if you think this move is bad in raid, I just feel like you're crazy, man. I feel like you're crazy because I'm going to dump this right now into a Light of Dawn. It's going to immediately heal every person with that party beacon on them, still from a few seconds ago. It's going to heal everyone else. And I mean, what's not to like? Now, again, phase 1 really doesn't matter. I'm not saying, phase 1's not hard. If your group is any good, you're not going to struggle on phase 1. If you are struggling on phase 1, that's okay. We've all got to start somewhere. But yeah, this is not the craziest, best example of like needing this healing. But the point is, Party Beacon does a really good job with consistent damage, and we will see that go through in phase 2 and 3 as we go forward. Phase 1 is actually the worst phase, in my opinion, for Holy Paladins, and doubly so even for Party Beacon. Because phase 1 is just consistent damage, and you've got other healers, like if this Disc Priest was a little more on top of his game, I would not be hitting, almost 9k HPS. Because he probably Spirit Shelled earlier than he needed to, and didn't prep as well as he could have. But again, doesn't matter, phase 1's whatever. But that's about how you can plan phase 1. So I wanted to kind of break that down so everybody can see that, because I think even though phase 1 is easy, it's good to know what you need to do to help. So I've got a proc here for an additional free heal. Still have some uptime on Party Beacon, so I'm probably going to dump that back out, and that's just going to top the whole raid off. Puts me back over 9k there, and we're going to go back into a builder phase now. Now, people aren't taking a lot of damage, so we're gonna do damage to the boss. Okay, we've got Hammer of Wrath available, which is what this big red X is. It's to annoy me, to remind me that I have a Hammer of Wrath available to always spend it, because you always want to spend it if you have it. So I'm probably going to do that pretty soon here, or maybe not. No, there it goes. And so I've got a couple globals in. Looks like I did a Holy Shock, a Hammer of Wrath, and a Crusader Strike. So this is going to build me some damage on the boss, and it's going to give me 3 combo points to prep for this damage coming in from the Night Hunters from the Cleansing Pain. In a couple globals here, I'll have Party Beacon ready. So you've got a choice here. It looks like I chose to not save that 3 combo points and immediately burn it on Light of Dawn. This is going to be variable depending on what's going on in the raid. If everybody was topped off, it would have been better for me to keep those 3 combo points and save them for this next set of damage that's about to come in. But because people were a little low, even though I could have done probably more HPS if I had waited and put Party Beacon out before I Light of Dawn, sometimes, even though you want to get your meter big and do as much HPS as possible, sometimes it's better just to get people topped off even though your HPS total throughput is lower, and that's the case there. So at any rate, we've got 1 combo point built from a Crusader Strike here, just hitting whatever I can. Looks like probably the boss. I use a macro that allows me to hit my target of target with Crusader Strike without reselecting anything. So if I've got someone targeted for heals, I can just hit Crusader Strike and it'll probably hit whatever they're targeting. So Crusader Strike, and I'm probably going to Holy Shock next. Probably a little bit of suboptimal usage there, because if I had Holy Shocked first, then my Holy Shock cooldown would be lower right now. But I do put Party Beacon up from that extra add damage, and I've got 3 combo points left over and still some time on wings. Probably going to dump that into a Wog or Light of Dawn. Light of Dawn, simple, Brain Dead, hits everybody, tops them up. And this is a bit more of one of those wasted Party Beacons that you can see there. Most of the people that it went on didn't really need that healing. So yeah, there's an RNG element with Party Beacon. That's a super legit criticism. I don't deny that criticism. I just think people really over-exaggerate how big of an issue that is. Because at the end of the day, if the content's challenging, people are going to be low. And that randomness is not going to matter as much, because everybody's going to be taking damage. So he's going to do a Ravage here, and I'm just basically burning as much as I can into damage on the boss during this, because nobody really needs healing right now. Building up these combo points. You can always horse here as a paladin, so as crappy as paladin mobility is, if you just save your horse, you don't need horse for anything else in phase 1 other than Ravage. Just never horse until he Ravages, and as soon as he Ravages, not as soon, you want to wait a little bit to not mess it up. So wait, till he's about halfway through the Ravage cast horse, you'll make it out every time, no problem. So you don't need a gate, you don't need a Druid Roar, you don't need any of that. If a paladin can make it out, no problem. So you horse out, burn a Wog there just to top off the tank because he's taking a little bit of damage, and just kind of build some damage here with Hammer of Wrath, Judge, and probably Holy Shock. So we're going into now another Cleansing Pain. I am now not in the group that's taking the Cleansing Pain, but that's okay. I can just stand behind the boss, build up my Holy Power, and I'm going to do the same prep here. We're going to do a a Rule of Law, immediately followed by a Party Beacon. So Rule of Law is off global cooldown, so we can Party Beacon right away. You don't need to wait to see who's low. I think if you're really trying to be as optimal as possible, that's probably better. But the way this phase works out, you're just trying to dump as much healing as you can constantly after these burst windows to prevent anyone from getting low. It's really not a spot healy kind of phase in phase 1. So Beacon goes out. You can see here we get some pretty good ones here. We've got a wasted one on the rogue and a wasted one on me, but pretty good 2 beacons here on these guys. So then we're going to go ahead and just wog the priest because spot healing there is probably better. It's going to replicate that out to our 2 party beacons. And the healer is important, okay? I get a proc, so I'm going to spot heal probably the other healer, and I do. And now I've got a Holy Shock coming up. I'm going to Holy Shock just another spot heal, get in line to absorb the line mechanic, and we've got 3 combo points ready that I go ahead and dump onto the tank because he's a little bit low. So coming through here, this is going to be a situation where the druid's kind of filling in with his hots. And this is okay. Your job as a paladin, whatever throughput you get with Party Beacon and Light of Dawn is great. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to spot heal chunk some people, that's really your big thing as a paladin anyway. So we go ahead and get another little another Holy Shock on the tank, and I wog him. And this tank is just taking, or excuse me, I Light of Dawn. Yeah, I Light of Dawn there. So I Light of Dawn. This tank's taking a lot of damage, but I probably should have, maybe, I don't know. Tank's not going to die phase 1. So you could argue he's at 50%. Wog might have been better, but he's a paladin. Maybe he'll heal himself. We'll see. If not, the other healers can clean that up. Light of Dawn just kind of do the raid healing, and then I reposition immediately from the back there to the front because, again, blood price is coming in and we're getting lifted up. We want our backs to this wall. So I was over here a second ago. I repositioned to be in front of the boss as soon as blood price comes up, and it's the same prep. And you can see what's really nice about this and the way that you play it is that you've got 2 things coming up soon, right? So Party Beacon's going to be available right away. I've got 2 combo points built up. 3 would be more ideal, but that's okay. And in 5 seconds, I have another Divine Toll coming up. So everybody gets knocked back. Everybody takes damage. I immediately do Party Beacon. I don't have Rule of Law anymore. It's on cooldown, but that's okay. So Party Beacon to get that out. You can see it's gone to some people here where it's going to do some nice healing. I'm going to use this next global to Holy Shock anyone. Doesn't really matter who. Could have picked someone better than that druid, but in the moment, anybody who needs a Holy Shock, give them the Holy Shock. It's going to replicate that out to your Party Beacon. You can spend your 3 combo points now on a Wog or a Light of Dawn. It looks like I do a Light of Dawn, no surprise. And now we still have Party Beacon out, and we've got incoming damage. So in a lot of situations, depending on what your other healers are doing, we've got this druid here who's pumping, really hard as well as me. So it wasn't needed. But there are a lot of situations where you might be carrying this pug that you're in, or maybe your guild just doesn't have good healers. You would, at this point, be very smart to do a Divine Toll before that Party Beacon ends, depending on how low everyone was. Because if everyone's still low, that's going to be a huge top. It turns out this druid's kind of on his game, so no worries. I don't need it. That's okay. I can save it. So then we're going to go through the next Hunter phase here. And we've still got Party Beacon, we've still got Divine Toll ready if we need it. So what you're doing here is you're pre-prepping with Party Beacon when you see these guys dash. And depending on what the Shadow Priest has done and how much Druid healing has gone out, you can visually confirm whether you need that Divine Toll. And it looks like we still don't, so that's great. So I'm just going to spot heal. Really not much raid healing to do, so that's an easy wog on the 1 or 2 people who are low. Still got 1 combo point, going to Holy Shock the tank. Quick Crusader Strike onto the boss and reposition again in the front, which actually isn't necessary. So I love that I had the same thought as I'm analyzing this as I did when I played it. I think I thought there was another blood price coming, but there isn't. So we didn't need to reposition in front of the boss. That's okay. Ravage comes up, we horse, and we're gonna go back over. And just make sure in all of these free globals that you're applying Judge. Whenever you're not really doing anything else, if you've got a Judge, it looks like I did it a little while ago, you want to do that because that Judgment of Light talent, in addition to Judge doing actually great damage, which is nothing to snub your nose at, like dealing damage as a healer is important. You want to do, especially as a paladin, but really as any healer, you want to do as much damage as you can. But Judge also will effectively heal people because of the Judgment of the Light talent that puts a debuff on them. So now we're going into the last soak. So most groups do this in either a 1-2-1-2 or a 1-1-2-2 fashion. So I personally like the 1-1-2-2. So that means group 1 and group 3 absorb the first 2 cleansing pains, and group 2 and group 4 absorb the next 2 cleansing pains. And then everybody in every single group in the entire raid absorbs the 5th cleansing pain. I think that's the best way to do it. As a paladin, as a paladin healer, you have Aura Mastery, and this is one of the best uses of your Aura Mastery in this fight. Just to make this instance where everyone absorbs it easier, you can also have Death Knights do Anti-Magic Zone as well. So when this comes in, you're going to want to, and you can see that we do get the Anti-Magic Zone, you're going to want to activate Aura Mastery when you see this cleansing pain start. Because everyone in your raid's about to get hit, so why wouldn't you want a 20% damage reduction from that Devotion Aura Mastery? And stacked with this just with any Death Knight's Anti-Magic Zone, stacked with that Anti-Magic Zone, it's a huge damage reduction. So you can see here, before this cleansing pain goes off, I've got my 3 combo points. I'm not spending them on anything. I'm pre-prepping with Party Beacon so I can spend them as soon as this hit goes off. Boom, there's the hit. People take really, really low damage. And I want to pause here to talk about some cheese you can do as a paladin. Because as a paladin, you actually never need to take more than 1 hit of cleansing pain. You can make it every single time with 4 stacks of the debuff. You can make it to the center. And the way you do that is by putting Blessing of Freedom on yourself before Denathrius teleports away. I don't usually do that because phase 1 is easy. If phase 1 was harder, or if you're in a group that's really stressing and you think that's something you need to do, it's a good cheese to know that you can do. But at the end of the day, phase 1 is so easy that you really don't need to do it. And rather than chance missing the timing of your freedom, it's better to just eat them and heal through if you can do it. So you'd really never need to, but it's good to know in case maybe you're in a group where maybe the tanks are weird and they turn the boss a bunch and you accidentally don't eat all the cleansing pains you're supposed to. It's really nice to know you can always make it if you only ever eat 1 total cleansing pain. So at any rate, I pre-prep with the Party Beacon there. I've got my 3 combo points to spend. I'm going to dump them as soon as it goes off into a Light of Dawn just to get that little extra bit of party healing out to keep everyone topped. And the boss is going to teleport at 70%. So basically you get your pre-prep Party Beacon, and you get 1 global after that, which if you've got 3 combo points should be spent probably on Light of Dawn, and if you don't, should be spent on a Holy Shock. But once you spend that 1 global, you're waiting. You're in a pause pattern. And all you're doing is waiting to see. Now you can see the ads have spawned, right? But we want our DPS to push the boss to 70, and you can see he just got pushed to 70. You're not really looking at the percentage. What you're looking at is Sire Denathrius, and you can see that he's still here. And as soon as he teleports, you see how he's gone? That's your cue to freedom yourself. So you can see I've already got myself selected. I've got myself selected, and I'm just mashing the crap out of freedom right now. Mash, 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 mash. Freedom goes off, and the boss picks us up. And so if I was at 4 stacks, I would still be good. But as it is, I'm at 2, so I'm going to move even faster once this wears off. And we've also got a Druid Roar, which makes it go even quicker. So you're just booking it. And if your raid, maybe the push wasn't that clean, sometimes you get the push a little late and you take some ad damage. If your raid is really low, this is a great time to Party Beacon Divine Toll to quickly top them off. If they're not low, save the Divine Toll for later when you drop down, and it syncs up perfectly with your wings based on the timing that I'm using. So I'm probably going to just shoot out a Holy Shock. It looks like I maybe Crusader Strike. No, I just do Holy Shock into probably Flashlight, Party Beacon, yeah, whatever. And then a Light of Dawn, just a quick little top to get everybody up. And if everybody was full, you can also just put some damage on the boss there. So coming down into phase 2, you can notice with the timing that we've been using, we immediately have everything available. We have Party Beacon in 3 seconds, we have Wings, and we have Divine Toll as well ready to go. So when you first land, assuming everyone's topped up like they are now, what you want to do is just deal damage to generate holy power. So it doesn't really matter whether you pick Remornia or Sire Denathrius, whichever one's closer to you, they share HP, so it cleaves between them, doesn't matter. You're going to want to Holy Shock them, or Holy Shock heal, whatever, and then get your 2 Crusader Strikes in immediately to build your 3 combo points. And you've got that Holy Shock ready, which you can dump on the tank, or for more boss damage, doesn't really matter. I saved mine a little bit here. It looks like I did a Light of Dawn or a Wog early on the tank. I'm not going to rewind, but it's probably, it might have been a Wog on the tank. If your tank needs healing, great, but a lot of times your tanks don't need anything, and you can queue up 5 combo points here to be ready. I don't have 5, I spent it, but 2 is still pretty good, and as soon as your tanks get positioned to about here, you're going to start taking that constant AoE damage from these adds. So when that happens, it's a great idea to immediately activate Wings, because this is a situation that requires pretty good healing, and put your party beacon up, and just start so right here, I wasn't really near an ad, and there were enough people with healing, I guess I decided it was good to do a Flash of Light. You could argue Crusader Strike on this ad would have been better, or Hammer of Wrath on this ad would have been better. Flash of Light does more healing. Crusader Strike, Hammer of Wrath, or Holy Shock on the ad does more damage to kill the ad. So, in the moment, you don't really have enough time to think about it, but based on what your group's doing on average, you can kind of decide whether you think the healing or the damage is more worth it. I would say more often than not, the damage is probably better than the healing, like I chose in this particular instance. But at any rate, I generate my combo point, dump a Light of Dawn out onto everyone, which replicates onto my party beacon, and now I'm going to Crusader Strike and Hammer of Wrath on the ad to put some DPS on it to help kill it, while I'm generating Holy Power while this healing is no longer necessary. So now we've got an Impale that just went off. People took a little bit of damage, but not too much because we've got that Disc Priest, so not much healing to do right now. If you don't have a Disc Priest in the raid for those Impales, this would be a lot bigger potential healing, and you might want to use a party beacon into a Divine Toll at this point. But we do have a Disc Priest, and the Druid's keeping up too, so wasn't really much damage to heal through from that Impale, so I'm just going to keep going through my general combo point build phase. Quick Flash of Light on the tank because he's a little bit low. That builds a combo point and allows me to immediately Wog as a spot heal. Get a little reset, put that onto the other tank, still replicating into our party beacons, and we're just kind of like Holy Shocking, using Hammer of Wrath to build these combo points. Looks like I'm probably going to spot heal the other tank with a Wog, and I do. Holy Shock, we've got a Crusader Strike followed up, and then I'm going to Hammer of Wrath as well. So what we just did is we walked through the portal, and this is super common. So when you get the suck in, as soon as you get sucked in, you walk through the portal. And there's a couple different things that can happen here, especially if you still have Divine Toll available, depending on whether or not you are chosen for the Impale. At this point, I'm just kind of like spot healing. I put my party beacon up because I know someone's going to take damage from Impale. I don't know yet. It looks like, I could know now that I'm pausing the video. I don't know yet whether it's going to be me that gets the Impale. It isn't. But if it were, having that pre-party beacon up is really nice because you know you're going to take some damage and the people around you are going to take some damage. So if I was being more optimal, I probably, again, would have put the party beacon on myself. But that's okay. We're going to run through the ad death here just so we don't get hit. We're not going to stay on this side of the mirror because we don't have the Impale. So unfortunately, that party beacon not quite as useful as it could have been, but it's a nice thing to pre-prep because it can be extremely useful to get that healing off there. And this is kind of the nice thing about party beacon. Like, I know like there's a couple instances like you've seen where it hasn't done much, but shoot, the cooldown's 15 seconds and it has 8 seconds of duration. So it's going to be up again soon. And these people who I have it on, you'll see in a second, they're going to come through the mirror, okay? So no big deal. We get a little bit of healing there. Not the best use of it, but I would rather pre-prep it there in case I needed it, in case I had the Impale, than save it for the healing here, because this healing isn't really that needed. So at any rate, we're going to spot heal here some more, go through. We're pushing the boss to the 50% or what is it, 40? I think it's 40%, excuse me. So we're just damaging the boss, and now we're going to go through the sword phase. So these swords, if you guys aren't familiar, when the sword gets the red line and flies through, if you can see the red line, you've got a lot of time. A lot. It's not until it like draws down this black line I mean, you can't wait to see the black line, but it's like as the red disappears, this black line comes in. That's the thing that actually hits you. So you'll see like this line is old. So it should disappear in a second, and then the sword comes. So if you can still see a red line, especially when it's like brighter like that, you've got quite a bit of time to move. But as you're moving around, depending on how many combo points you have and depending on people's positioning, you may want to just pool your combo points. You may want to put a party beacon up like I do here and start like WOG spot healing. Or you may want to save party beacon and just use the spot healing with a Light of Dawn to have the party beacon for this next impale phase. I think those are all valid options, and it kind of depends on what's going on. Looking back on this fight right now, I really didn't need to put party beacon up there, so saving it might have been better. That's, by the way, what we just saw is really scary when you have the explosion going off at the same time as the suck-in. But luckily, it wasn't a problem, and I didn't get knocked in a weird place there. So we're going to go back through the mirror, because, again, when you get sucked in, you go through the mirror pretty much every time. That's standard strat. Building up the combo points there, Crusader Strike, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, and we're just kind of pooling our combo points. We spend them on a Light of Dawn there, just some like just keeping everybody topped. Not really necessary to pool things right now from how this raid's been going. Putting Party Beacon out just in case anybody takes damage. It's really preemptive at this point. Like, I'm not waiting to see people take damage to put the Party Beacon out. I'm just kind of throwing it out on global because maybe people will take damage from fail mechanics. That's kind of how Phase 2 is. Like, sometimes people don't mess up very much and there isn't that much damage to heal through, and other times people mess up all the time. But because a lot of the damage in Phase 2 is fail mechanics based on where people stand with Impale or whether they eat the ground effect, it's not that consistent. So a lot of times I'm just going to put Party Beacon out just in case. So you can see here, maybe it would have been better for me to have waited. But it looks like I decided this healer got a little too low for my liking. I'm going to rewind that just a smidge here because I'm kind of curious about how low he was. We put the Party Beacon out. And yeah, he goes to 50. So this is basically a knee-jerk reaction on my part. And I think in the moment, it's probably the right call. In retrospect, with pausing the game and going frame by frame like we are, I think I really probably didn't need to spend Divine Toll here. But a lot of times I see a healer get chunked in this phase, and I'm worried they're in a bad spot, and they're going to eat like multiple ground effects and die. So I see this guy go low, and I just immediately cast Divine Toll on him. Because Divine Toll has that potential to get multiple Holy Shocks on a single target, so it can be a really good single target heal. And I'm like, yeah, screw it. Everybody else in the raid's probably going to take some damage in a second anyway. So not the best HPS use of Divine Toll there. If you're trying to get the highest HPS for, you know, your parse or whatever, probably would have been better to save, but I really just didn't want to lose a healer. So I dump it on him, and it's only a minute cooldown, not that big a deal. So just going to dump the rest of those combo points into spot healing here on Wogs, looks like on the tank, on some people who need it. Sword phase comes in. I've got a proc here, and this is a phase where people, again, they're going to take tick damage from adds while they're dodging the swords, because if the add's still up, they're not really doing that much damage to it. So this is a great opportunity to put your Party Beacon out and start either spot healing or Light of Dawning. Basically just move back from these lines. A lot of times there aren't that many people by the mirror, so I like to butt up towards the mirror area, because a lot of times there aren't that many people in this area, and the sword does target people to like decide where the lines go. So I find this mirror is like usually fairly safe for me. So back up into the mirror, put your Party Beacon out. I'm just going to generate some combo points. Looks like I do a couple, or no, I don't generate combo points. I do a couple of Light of the Martyrs. That's actually a good place to do Light of the Martyr. Good job, me. So we didn't have enough combo points to do anything, and we didn't have Holy Shock, but this DH was really low. So that's exactly what Light of the Martyr is great for. You need a heal. It needs to be right now. You don't have the time or the convenience of being able to cast, because this sword might fly in and prevent me from casting. So you just toss a couple Light of the Martyrs. Then once the swords go away and you've got enough time, fine, I'll cast Flash of Light to build a little combo point there. I probably should have... that's debatable. Again, you could say, since I cast it with the beacon, it's probably more total HPS to have Flash of Lighted. But again, you could debate that maybe the damage on the boss would be better to generate that same one combo point. At any rate, I'm going to dump a Holy Shock into that Demon Hunter. And you can see I've got a Wings proc here from Awakening, which is great. And just go into spot heal mode probably. I cast the finisher there before we go through the mirror. And then put my Party Beacon back up, and I'm just generating. So now we're moving into Phase 3. And phase 3, in my opinion, is not only the best phase for a Holy Paladin, it's also the best phase specifically for Party Beacon, because it's a phase that just has a constant onslaught of chunk-ass damage. So we're in the back here. If you've got people to heal with Holy Shock, you want to do that as you run in. I should be healing this Hunter right now, probably, because he's in range and I've got a Holy Shock. There. Okay, so I was a little slow. You want to get that in as soon as you can so your Holy Shock cooldown is running, and you want to get to the boss as quickly as you can, and you want to use Crusader Strike. And I'm really glad in this instance that I did save my horse until now, because it would have gotten me closer to here, but the boss is going to teleport. So I like this because now I can horse in, and immediately I can use my Crusader Strike and my Holy Shock to generate combo points and prep for this knockback and damage that's about to come in. So the boss is going to knock us back. We've got 3 or more Holy Power pooled up. This is a great time to activate Party Beacon, and I do. And this is exactly that situation where we don't care that Party Beacon is dumb. Everyone's taking damage. This is just going to increase our throughput healing, which is great. So you want to decide in this instance whether it's better for you to spot heal a single person who's really low, which in this instance, luckily there isn't. And if there isn't a single person who's extremely low, you just want to get the best, most optimal Light of Dawn you can manage in the moment to hit as many people as you can. And again, Rule of Law helps immensely with this. You can see I've got that activated already. That's going to increase the range of our heals, which increases the effectiveness of our mastery and the range of Light of Dawn. So I'm going to, it looks like I actually do decide to Wog there. I'm shocked. I think I probably should have Light of Dawned, looking at this in retrospect. But the tank was kind of low, so let's go back. Hang on. Maybe not so bad. Let's see. Let's refresh really quickly. Do I Wog the tank? I think I do. No, I Wog the healer. So yeah, I don't know. That's iffy. I think probably Light of Dawn would have been better total HPS there, but you know, in the moment, you're making snap decisions in this phase, and you're not going to be 100% right every time. The goal is to just get as much of that healing out as you can, as quick as you can, to get everybody topped up for the next crazy thing that's about to happen. So this is something that, as a Holy Paladin, I can't decide what I think about, and that's whether you should or shouldn't help with the ranged soaks. And I usually just try to play this by ear, because sometimes you've got more than enough ranged folk doing the soaks, and you're better off getting back to the boss to hit him, to do damage and generate combo points. And other times you don't have enough ranged, or your ranged are really low, and you're better off helping with the soaks. I don't remember what I do here. Let's see. It looks like I do help with the soaks. So you could kind of play this either way. I think if the raid is topped, and probably in this situation, I probably didn't need to help with the soaks, but you're there, and helping with soaks is just the safest play. So I'm going to go over there and do that. He sucks us back in. Conveniently, every time he does this, he puts us in melee range, which means that we can either Holy Shock him or heal someone, as I did this healer here. And as you run out, you can turn and Crusader Strike. Okay? I did not do that there, but I could have. So you could, as you're running out of this circle that you want to get away from, so you don't take that extra damage, you can turn and Crusader Strike as you're running away to build that extra combo point. It looks like I turned and judged him. Still good use, but Crusader Strike probably a little bit more optimal because it builds a combo point and Judge doesn't. At any rate, we're going to move to his new location where the tanks position him, and we are in, currently, prime territory for big, fat, crispy Party Beacon into Divine Toll. So the entire raid is at 50% or lower. We already have wings active because we activated, I didn't commentate on that, but I activated it a bit ago. It's usually good to activate fairly early in phase 3, but depending on your comp and what your healers are doing, you're gonna activate wings at some point in phase 3. When kind of depends on, you know, your raid organization, but usually earlier is better because you might even get a second wings depending on how bad your DPS is. But at any rate, this is prime position. So I've got 2 Holy Power already. It would actually be almost preferable if I had none or 3. Because none means that I immediately do Party Beacon into Divine Toll. And 3 means I do Party Beacon into a finisher into Divine Toll. 2 is a little awkward because that's an extra global to build. So you have to decide whether you're going to overcap on your combo points by just casting Divine Toll anyway, or whether you're going to wait an extra global to get that Holy Shock out and then Divine Toll. It's probably best to get the Holy Shock out, but if people were a little bit lower, that would be a good argument to just Divine Toll immediately as soon as you can, because you need to make sure they don't die to the next tick of damage. And it looks like I do decide to do that. I think in retrospect, that's probably not the right call. I probably should have, actually I definitely should have, and would have done a lot more total healing. I should have waited. I should have done Party Beacon. I should have Holy Shocked. I should have Finishered. And then I should have Divine Tolled, because I would have topped the entire raid. I'm still going to get pretty close to that. So we put the Party Beacon out now. I'm going to spot heal. I've got 2 combo points left over. Spot heal with Holy Shock. And then it's probably either, Light of Dawn or spot heal Wog. So it looks like Light of Dawn. So this is still a shit ton of healing. But I would have basically single-handedly topped the entire raid if I had waited that 1 extra global, I guess 2 extra globals, to do Holy Shock, Finisher, then Divine Toll after my Party Beacon. So in the moment, kind of a hard decision. Looking back on it, I think people were not low enough to warrant me crapping my pants, as it were. I should have set up the proper combo. But that's okay. Still a lot of healing. And we're now basically just generating our combo points again. Holy Shock the boss for damage. I dumped that all into a Light of Dawn because there's a lot of melee in front of me that are low. Get the Hammer of Wrath off, Judge, and we're just building combo points, dealing damage. So this is in a situation where if you know your tank's low and you're going to spot heal, you can kind of like wait and see what happens with the pre-party beacon, because sometimes people get stuck in this mechanic when you run out of it. They don't, so that's fine, and this ends up being kind of a wasted party beacon. I probably should have waited and put it up during this phase. Depending on the group you're in, sometimes you need it during then, so not the best use of it on that particular instance from me. So yeah, we're just kind of dumping stuff into the tank here, running back in, and I think this phase 3, I'll remind you guys, is super sloppy, and I think there's some things I could have done. So far we're clean, but it's going to get really sloppy at a certain point. I think there's some things I could have done to make it better, and the raid could have done, so there's a little bit of both. So right now we're going to help range soak again. You don't technically need to do this as a Holy Paladin. You are technically melee, but I find that it does help to soak. I try to soak both orbs if I can. It just makes sure there's always somebody soaking as best as you can. And yeah, so there we go. We're soaking all these too. Put the party beacon up, dumping the spenders in there. And so this, when you're out here, this is another nicety to party beacon that I think gets overlooked. Since I'm not by the boss and I am helping range soak, I can still generate combo points by flash of lighting my party beacon target. And so I get 2 combo points there, and that helps me build to a Wog to spot heal Mr. Druid here. So that's good. I think that's a really overlooked use. Move in for the Shattering Pain. Gonna knock us back. And we're getting everybody some group damage here. And we've got another prepped Party Beacon and Divine Toll if we want it. Looks like I'm going to Party Beacon first. We're going into the Swordy Sword / phase. And I like just spot healing here with Wog a lot more, because it's hard to know exactly where everyone's at while you're dodging these swords. If you see a clump of people, Light of Dawn all day, baby. But if you're not sure and all you can be fucked to look at is the lines and your party frames, yeah, just spot heal with Wog. So Party Beacon again here, really nice because everybody's low. I do get the fat Party Beacon into Divine Toll heal, which gives a bunch of healing on its own, plus giving me these combo points. I've got an Awakening Wings proc, and I have Rule of Law active, so I'm just going on freaking spot heal city here, man. Click whoever's lowest, Wog them, everything's replicating back out. Boom, boom, fat heals. Go ahead and chuck that Hammer of Wrath and Judge as we move back into the boss. Holy Shock, Crusader Strike to generate those combo points. Just quick dumps here, and boom, everybody's knocked back again. I'm going to put a Party Beacon out. I've got a Holy Shock coming up that I'm going to get off on probably, it was looking like a little spot heal, and then we can still top everybody off here with this. Okay, I think this is where it gets kind of fucky. So tanks are taking a lot of damage, everybody's low. So this is a great example of a group, and it's hard to say. You can't go back in time. But if this group was a little bit more coordinated in guild, like if it was a full guild run or something, You could certainly argue that it would have been better for me to have done less healing in some of the phases we were just in, because people would have survived. This is why healer parsing is kind of bullshit, because you're just sniping to heal whoever you can heal, and a lot of times nobody's going to die, so you don't need to heal. And there's certainly a decent amount of that going on in this run from probably both of us. And this is where someone you could look at, this Disc Priest, maybe this Disc Priest is the lowest HPS, but if he's saving his cooldowns, that's ideal. I don't have my cooldowns because I've been the HPS pumper. So in every pug, you've got to figure out which healers are the HPS pumper type of healer and which healers are going to save their stuff for like when it's necessary. Personally, if I'm running with a pug, which this is, I try to get as much HPS out as I can, because I find that a lot of pug healers just don't output much healing. So if they are holding their cooldowns too much, let them do that, because at the end of the day, you do need a certain amount of HPS to make checks. But if you're in a coordinated group, you could definitely argue that doing less HPS and saving your cooldowns for the right moment might be better. So you've got to kind of take that as it comes. So because I don't have these cooldowns, people get a little bit low here. I'm going to probably pop out a party beacon. This would, again, be great if I had Divine Toll, but I used it earlier, so I don't. Just spot healing right now. This is an instance where I don't like Light of Dawn. As much as I love Light of Dawn and I always tell everybody to use it, this particular example is fantastic for why you wouldn't want to Light of Dawn, because you just want to try not to let people die. So we don't really care as much about topping the raid as we care about not letting these two DPS who are low die. And it's convenient that this guy doesn't die, which we'll see in a minute. So just kind of spot healing however we can. When you're running, again, is a great time to use Light of the Martyr. And I've already lay on hands someone. Just a second. It looks like I did, that Druid a couple globals ago. We're just spot healing as much as we can. We get another Wings activation, and this is exactly what I was talking about early on, where activating Wings as early as possible is great, because you can get this second Wings late in the fight and still cover the first one. So you want to get as many activations out of those cooldowns as you can most of the time. So I've got Wings running again. I'm about to get a party beacon put out while I soak, and we're going to probably spot heal. We do. So this guy was really low. Even though he already had the beacon on him, he was low. We're going to spot heal. We get a reset, so we're going to spot heal someone else. DK's low. Boom. This is still replicating to all these beacon targets. This shit is godlike. Why do people think this is a meme talent? I think it's so good. Anyway, now we get sucked back in. Quick Holy Shock on that guy. Am I good? Yes, I get the Crusader Strike on the boss as I run out that I talked about earlier. And then once you get that one Crusader Strike while you're on global, you can chuck that Hammer of Wrath to get the third one. Still have a party beacon out. Quickly spot heal that guy. Boom. That still replicates back out to everybody. Fantastic stuff. So now, this is where shit gets pretty dicey. I still have some Wings time left, and I'm about to drop in 5 seconds the biggest, fattest party beacon and Divine Toll ever, if I can. But we want to make sure these people don't die. So if I'm me, and I am, what I should do right now is Light of the Martyr this Druid. He dies. Sad day. I could have Light of the Martyred that Druid, and that probably would have saved him. But man, there's a lot of shit going on, and sometimes you just don't have the time in the moment. But that would have saved him, especially with Wings up. That's okay. I'm going to choose to Divine Toll, and this is, again, a suboptimal Divine Toll. And man, I can't decide if that was the right decision or not. So I think I did it because the tank was low and everybody was overall low. If no one would have died had I not done that, that was the wrong decision. It's hard to say. If people would have died, it was the right decision. These are the decisions you have to make. At any rate, that's going to nerf my total healing output because I could have had that Divine Toll ready for when I had Party Beacon up. I think looking at this, it was probably the right call, but you've got to kind of just make those on the fly and see where it goes. So we get Party Beacon into a finisher. Holy Shock, we've still got Party Beacons up. Looks like I do another one there, and we're just trying to keep everybody alive. I do get a Holy Light usage here, and you don't often find a good time to Holy Light in a raid. But this is actually, I think, a great example of a time that's good, because multiple people are very low. Just this one guy has our beacon. Multiple people with the beacon were low when I started that Holy Light, including myself. So that Holy Light's just going to go out to all of our beacon targets, including both tanks. That's pretty good. You could probably argue, yeah, damage might have been better. I don't know. But I think if you're looking for a decent time to use Holy Light, that's one of them. So at any rate, we're going to go back in on the boss here, generate some combo points, just continue spot healing with Wog, because this is Wog City, man. Like, Light of Dawn is not the answer right now because we've got 4 total raid members who are very low. So this is where you want the Wogs. Going back into another Swordy Sword phase, and I think shit gets really crazy here. I actually didn't see what I bubbled. Did I bubble? What did I bubble? Okay. So that was an awful bubble. So I was basically worried. This is just spamming bubble. I was trying to get, I think, I was trying to get bubble off for the explosion that we ran out of, which would have been a good bubble, but I was just late and I was still like mashing it and hadn't realized that it already went off. So that's a wasted bubble. If I had had that bubble in a global sooner, I would have taken no damage. It would have been good. But since I already took the damage, that's a bad bubble. At any rate, yeah, so I get the Divine Toll, as we just talked about a second ago. Party Beacon, some stuff. Little Light of Dawn there to top everybody. Get my Holy Light, and we're back on track to where we were at. So again, we're in Wog City now. Wog those low raid members. Try and prevent them from dying. Everybody's going to be low no matter what. Swords are coming in, and something goes wrong here. I don't remember what it is. I don't know if it's positional. We had another quick flash of light heal to generate that combo point. Another nice use of the party beacon there. You can pick whoever's got it, get that flash of light off. And I'm knocked into the red here. No big deal. We're going to run out. We're going into an absorb phase now. And yeah, just he's really low. Oh, man, I know something goes wrong here, but I don't remember what it is. I guess everybody's just really low, and oh, okay. So I think, wait, is that right? I'm not sure. I don't know enough about how tanking this phase works. I think they could have had him further away, and I think these absorbs could have been positioned better. But I'm not an expert on that element of this. I'm not gonna lie. I just healed this fight. But at any rate, everybody takes a bunch of damage here, and unfortunately I don't have a lot to do. I'm trying to get these party beacon wogs out as much as I can. There's a little Light of the Martyr there just to top that dude. I could have probably Crusader Strike the boss as I was running away, but man, I just really wanted to get out of this mechanic before it exploded, and oof, that's bad. So this is another example that you could certainly argue where if maybe I could have been doing as much as 1,000 less HPS, but the group might have been healthier if I held my cooldowns. This is the kind of thing that's hard to know in a pug. And so in pugs, I certainly err on the side of just pumping out that HPS, but looking back on this, man, having some cooldowns available right then, even if my HPS was lower, probably would have made this a lot less messy. But I've got my my Holy Power generation going. I'm trying to get everybody built up. Somebody flew off the side there a second ago, which is super messy. I should be Light of the Martyring this Demon Hunter. I should have done this a million times by now. He's the lowest one. I should be Light of the Martyring him as I move, or Holy Shocking if it's available. I'm not sure why I'm saving these Holy Shocks. I know why. Let's go back. I'm panicking right now, and I'm trying to get the beefiest combo into Divine Toll as I can, because I'm thinking this is either a wipe or I top everyone and it's a win. But ironically, as much as I've talked about wishing I had done that the past few times, this is an example where I think I should have just immediately put this party beacon out instead of trying to wait for this Divine Toll. Because I could have been Holy Shocking and wogging and getting a lot more healing here. So even though I'm like on top of the meters, that's a significant play that I could have done differently. At any rate, it looks like I do finally get my party beacon out. I'm going to wog, and yeah, boom. I could have had people topped more there. People die. I can't heal myself now because that explosion goes off. And so now I tried to save and prep, but because that explosion went off and we're in the red, which is that huge healing reduction, I can't even get the Divine Toll off. So I super duper should have done Divine Toll there. before this happened. But as luck would have it, oh, and actually, hang on 1 minute. I got to go back to something else I did that's super godlike. So our tanks die at a certain point here. Our tanks die sometime. 1 tank dead, 2 tanks dead. So if you're a paladin and you're really cool, you can do what I'm about to do, which is to bop yourself, and then after you bop, you taunt the boss. And the boss will target you for 3 seconds of that taunt, and so you can see he teleported to me and hit me, but he couldn't do anything. So that's a really nice little bullshit cheese you can do. It would have been better if I divine told and healed the right way, like I said a second ago, but still a decent use of the cheese on my part. And I die. So this dude, the god, Zephyrvile, in this messy ass kill, has the Covenant talent where when he dies, his armor continues to fight for him. And he does 50% damage. So this dude, by the grace of Covenant abilities, gets the last 10k damage on the boss, and we down him. So I think this is a great example of a pug fight. This ended up being really long, as all of these overviews tend to be. But this fight is everything that happens in a pug. You have people who are good, people who are bad, people who are coordinating, people who aren't. HPS healing, spot healing. I think this is a great example of why I love Party Beacon. You saw both the ups and downs to it, and as well as ways I could have used it better. But I hope this was helpful for you guys who just want to heal this fight in general, want to heal it as a paladin, or if you want to try the, supposedly god-awful meme spec of Party Beacon that everyone thinks is awful. You can try that too. But you can see my HPS at 6,300. That's pretty good. I think that would have been probably an 80 or 85% parse. I have a 75% parse at 5,900 and a 95% parse at 7k. So 6,300, that's pretty good parse, man. So, heal parses are kind of bullshit, as we've gone over in this video, but you can see the talent performs and the spec performs. So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It is very late. I'm going to go to bed now. I will catch you guys next time. Stay tuned for more Holy Paladin and WoW content. I'll see you later. Peace.